Okay, the next lead gen funnel we're going to talk about is a webinar funnel. You have probably opted into different webinar funnels. You may have tried to create some. Webinar funnels are still very effective as of the time filming this in June of 2023, if done right. So a webinar funnel, again, we'll jump into the iPad, we'll illustrate this. Very simple. As always, we're gonna have our traffic sources. So we might have our paid ads. We may have some organic content that we're going to create, pushing people to our webinar, and maybe some miscellaneous traffic sources that are coming. But either way, we're pushing people to our webinar, and the first page is going to be the opt-in page. So very similar to what we discussed in that lead form lead gen funnel strategy. Our goal here is to get them to fill out a form with, what did we talk about last time? The sweet spot, only the necessary information that we need to move them through our sales pipeline. Remember, you're asking someone to watch an online automated webinar. There's no reason you should be asking for their address or personal information. You probably just need a first name and an email. If you're okay with some higher costs per conversion and want to ask for phone numbers, you can certainly test that, and that will allow you to do some SMS targeting and marketing as well. I would suggest at least testing that out, as SMS marketing is extremely effective, and if you can get a good cost per lead and get a phone number as well as an email, then that's going to help you out down the road. But either way, our primary focus is someone filling out this lead form. Other things you may want to have on here are a really strong headline, and then just kind of breaking down what they're going to learn in the webinar. Remember, the whole purpose of this page right here is just to get someone to sign up for the webinar. So you want to, through your paid ads, through your organic content, and especially through this landing page and opt-in page, your job is to convince someone to trade their information for the value that they will get in return from this webinar. And these days, people are stingy with their information. They don't want all these spam calls, they don't want all these spam emails, etc. So you need to really convince people. And another thing that we found really helps increase our opt-in rate and lower our cost per conversion is actually testimonials on the webinar page, and these need to be specific to the webinar itself or to the free training itself. A mistake I see a lot of people make is they put testimonials that are about a completely different product, completely different service. Everything in our funnel and every funnel we build needs to be extremely specific to our end goal, and in this case that is getting someone to sign up for a webinar. So the more social proof, the more information, the more you can do to entice people to trade that info, contact info, for the value you're going to give them, the better your conversion rates will be. Either way, once we get someone to opt in, they will then go to the next step in our funnel, and that's going to simply be the watch room. So if this is our opt-in page, then this is going to be our watch room, or as I typically call it, a consumption page, just for lead gen, because not all of the funnels we'll talk about will have a thing to watch. So anyways, in the case of a webinar, they'll go here, you'll maybe have a headline that repeats what this is. You will have the video and then a very simple call to action. Don't overdo it. Typically what we'll do is at the end of the webinar, we'll say, hey, if you enjoyed this free training, click below to check out the full program or to learn more about our community, etc. As always, comes down to testing in your messaging and testing in your strategies. So the next step then that we use, and I'm going to talk about this in the sense of with selling online courses, online coaching programs, online products, because that's what I do the most of, is we would then send someone to what we call an OTO page. This is a one-time offer. So this is essentially a OTO, and I'm gonna name it number 1 because you'll see we'll have a second OTO page. OTO number 1 limited offer. Now, one thing I wanna stress here is anytime in your marketing that you say something is a limited time offer, a limited time sale, you need to actually stick to that limit, or else people will catch on to that very quickly. I've learned this the hard way. If it's limited, it needs to be limited. So what we do is we will send them to a sales page for whatever course goes along with this webinar. Right, so we'll have our sales page here. And the main thing that we're gonna do is have a countdown. Typically, this is gonna be something like 15 minutes. We'll say for the next 15 minutes, you can save 50%. You can use whatever percent you want. We found 50 works best, so you need to make sure you're pricing accordingly. But you can save 50% on this program. And we're gonna break down, we're gonna have our regular sales page that we know converts. We'll talk about that later on in the sales module, how to create a good sales page. So what's going to happen is once this 15-minute timer expires, they will be automatically redirected to a new page. Now, this page is going to start with a headline that says, uh-oh, looks like that 50% offer expired. And within the program we use, Course Creator 360, they have an integration for something called Deadline Easy. And that actually tracks the IP address of the user. So they literally cannot go back to this page. And we will say that on here. We will straight up say, listen, this is the one time you're gonna see this offer. If the timer hits 0, you will not get this offer again, and we're not messing around. They cannot go back to that page with the software that we use. And you can use that as well. You get it for free as a CC360 member. So what they're gonna go to next is this second page. It's gonna say, uh-oh, looks like that expired, but hey, we'll do you a solid. We'll still give you 30% off or $100 off, however you wanna do that. Again, it comes down to testing. So we'll give them that additional discount. Now, either way, whether they take advantage of our 50% off, whether they take advantage of our OTO, and again, this would be our OTO number 2, and this is going to be what they get after their offer has expired on this other page here. But either way, they're going to go to a checkout page. Right, so they will go to a checkout page, and we're gonna have a whole module on creating checkout pages. We've done a ton of testing with checkout pages, but this is gonna go to the checkout page, and ideally they will purchase. Now, of course, there's a whole slew of automations that can go into this at every stage. So you can have automations for someone if they opt in, right? If someone opts in, but they don't watch the webinar. And in CC360, you can actually set up automations based on the percent of the webinar someone watches, which is super valuable. So if they opt in but they don't watch, we're gonna have a whole slew of SMS or email automations. And the whole goal is to get them to the watch room. Now, if they watch but don't buy either of these offers, we're gonna have a whole slew of automations. And the whole goal is to get them to buy our offers. It's that simple. Now, once they are purchased our offer, whether it was this one or whether it was this one, they're going to go and they're going to become a member. And then we will have a whole slew of backend integrations and automations to upsell them to other products. But this is kind of the 30,000 foot view of a simple webinar funnel. These can get much more complex, but this is more or less the strategy that I personally use for my courses, for my clients' courses, and it has been very effective. So as always, if you have any questions at all, please do let me know. And if not, I look forward to seeing you in the next lesson. Peace.